Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Aiden Mattis. I am joined by...
Oh, you usually say it. Thorn Bussy.
Yes, okay. He and I are here. We are together. We are in a room. This is all true statements and facts. The camera is off-center. Can you fix that?
Supposedly we exist.
Just a little bit this way.
Yep.
Probably should have checked that before the stream, but it's fine. It's been a little hectic here at the Lore Lodge today.
It has.
We could not get our lighting to work, and
Hectic is a gentle way to put it.
and then I was hungry.
Yes.
Um,
And so I went to go get the food, and
but apparently the local high school decided that tonight was a great night to have a dance. We are making Mount Pocono Perk in this French press right here. In case you were wondering about our coffee, we are drinking it on the stream. It's good coffee. There you go. Can you? I don't know. Can they hear that?
great question. That looks like that lid's gonna fall
I
off.
think they can hear that. It's fine. But yeah, so as you can imagine, we've had ourselves a day. I have a concert tonight that I am performing in. So this is going to be an interesting stream.
I have to leave for Florida at like 6 in the morning tomorrow.
We're really just having a whole time recently. Also, I've had to change my diet considerably because you guys are getting a sexy calendar at the end of the month. So
I keep forgetting about that. I'm definitely not going to be.
We have about 2 weeks to reach Channing Tatum levels.
Sexy's going to be a relative and subjective term.
It will be a calendar.
Yes.
It will be a calendar where Aiden and I are in revealing clothing. Whether or not it is a sexy calendar is really up to you guys to decide.
No one will derive pleasure other than sadistic pleasure.
I can think
Out
of
of
one
this.
person who's going to be deriving quite a bit of sadistic pleasure from this whole thing.
Archie?
Isaiah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Wendigoon's going to think this is hilarious. Also, I have to have energy in my body and neglected to eat all day, so you will see me pounding Wawa chicken nuggies throughout the entirety of this stream while he eats a pretzel. You know,
We are pinnacles of health.
oh, just going great. This is all I've eaten today is chicken. And I had a bagel at one point. So it will be a calendar for sure. As for shipping the coffee, that is a fantastic question. It is better served by Tableau Roasting Company, who actually does the fulfillment of the orders. So I would reach out to ask them. But, Aiden, what are we here to talk about today?
We are talking about yet another missing 411
Yet
case.
another missing 411 case. And this one's kind of similar to last week's because we're talking about mountains again. And we were talking about the West Coast, which personally I wish the entire thing would go missing. But
But what...
we can move Hollywood to Atlanta.
Oh, I'm not even that worried about Hollywood. Just out of curiosity, if there was one place on the West Coast that you could save, what would it be and why?
Oakland, California.
Can we get a why?
That is exactly why. It's because nobody would understand. It would
Oakland wouldn't even understand.
it would simply be a gigantic question mark. I would tell nobody I did this. I would tell nobody I had this power. I would just remove the entire first 200 miles of the western coast of this country and replace it with Oakland.
Yes. Oh, so you're not getting rid of everything else and keeping Oakland.
Oh, no, I'm getting rid of everything else and just keeping Oakland.
Okay, I thought you were...
No. We're not expanding Oakland. No, because then you just get California again. No. We're keeping Oakland. Why? Because, it just lost a football team. It's probably going to lose its baseball team. It's a dying city. You know how we can save it? Get rid of the rest of California. Make it the only thing left.
Speaking of noteworthy football and baseball teams, our town is doing pretty well this week.
If we got any fans from Dallas, get ready.
Watch out. I don't know if I'm actually going to get to watch the game. I hope I can. But
I will.
exciting times. I know you will. I will be.
Not only will I be watching the game, I'll be watching the game live on Twitch.
Ah.
Because tomorrow night,
Oh, yeah.
starting at 7 p.m., I will be doing a 24-hour live Twitch stream. It's going to include games. It's going to include reacting to things on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I might talk about the movie I wrote. I might talk about the movie we're writing.
You might as well. I'm sad I'm not going to be here. Of course, the one day that it has to happen is the day I'm in Florida.
But tomorrow, 24-hour Twitch stream. Be there, or I'd say be square, but be there or don't be. I'm sure you guys have stuff to do.
I mean, it's going to be a Sunday night, so, like, they'd normally be doing this.
That's a good point. Like, all 100 or so of you who are here right now, theoretically, should be here tomorrow. But yeah, we're going to do some analog horror. We're going to play some video games. We're going to talk about sports. I am, by the end of this, probably going to be absolutely delirious from being tired.
Yeah.
Because, fun fact, today, I'm going to be up till like 4 a.m. My the band I play with sometimes has a show, so...
What are you doing about class on Monday?
It's fall break.
Oh, all right, so you're old.
Yeah. I planned this entirely around my fall break from classes.
Nice.
A drinking game would be fun. I could do that. If you guys want to design the drinking game, I'll do it. Maybe I should do you drink, I sub. Or you sub, I drink.
For the entire
stream. It'd have to be beer at that point or I'd be dead.
Yeah.
It starts at 7 p.m. Tomorrow is Monday. Tomorrow is not Monday. Huh? Are you in Australia? Who said that?
If tomorrow was Monday, I'd be in a lot of trouble right now.
Same. Got me, like, you know, fact-checking myself. It is Saturday, okay.
I'd have to be buying myself a plane ticket down to Florida right now.
I'm leaving right now. I forgot that we planned the drinking game. Completely forgot that was a thing.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What's the plan?
I'm in danger. I don't know what the plan is, to be honest.
No.
We'll find out. But
for you.
It is 7:10 p.m. The show has been live for 10 minutes. We haven't talked about Eric Lewis.
This is what happens when you get us on a Saturday.
This is what happens when I didn't get a chance to eat until now. I'm so hungry, Aiden. Okay. Anyway. Allow me to set the scene for you. It is July 1st, 2010 on Mount Rainier, which is southeast of Seattle, Washington. Now, Mount Rainier, for a long time, has been the home of the Sahaptin Native Americans. This is a broader linguistic group within the plateau culture of the Western United States, which extends down into Southern California, and in fact includes some other Native American tribes we've talked about before on this show, like the Klamath. Very old place, very old population. And not the oldest population in the region, because the Sahaptin speakers, the Nez Perce, the Yakima, not Yamaka, it's a different thing. The Yakima,
yes.
They say that before they arrived in the region, there were already old Indians there, taking this from actual Sahaptin legend. So there were already old Indians, an old man and an old woman, and they told them of the people who came before. So, for at least the last probably 7,000, 8,000 years, a consistent group of Native Americans have lived in this region. Now, Rainier itself was folded into the national park system in the 20th century, and it was first summited by men named P.B. Van Trump and Hazard Stevens, which...
Again, I just heard you say these names an hour ago, and they still shock me. It's just so much.
Allow me to chew. I'm sorry. I thought he was going to talk a little bit more, so I thought I had an opportunity.
I can. Well, I was just looking up where exactly Mount Rainier is. Two things. One, it's kind of weird because Rex's brother's name is Rainier, so, like, you know, in that context. Also, absolutely right. It's also southeast of Tacoma. Like, it's pretty damn southeast. I remember seeing it.
And it is named by the Sahaptin people Tahoma.
Aha! There we go. That makes sense. Yeah, and then what is one in particular element? I can't remember if this is accurate or not, but I feel like it is based off of what I'm seeing on the map. Is Mount Rainier a volcano? It certainly looks like one from the top down.
Not only that, it's an active volcano.
It doesn't look like that from the top down, but, you know.
If I remember correctly, you might want to fact check me on that, but I believe Rainier is actually an active volcano, which is expected to erupt sometime in the near future. The near geological future, so we're talking about longer time spans here.
Mount Rainier is an episodically active composite volcano, also called a stratovolcano. Volcanic activity began between 1/2 and 1 million years ago, with the most recent eruption cycle ending about 1,000 years ago. So it's dormant.
How often does it erupt?
Let's find out. Yeah, it's considered an active volcano and will have future eruptions. Let's see. Let's see what the Park Service says, because we can trust them as a reliable source.
Can't determine the weather for next week, but we can predict when a volcano is going to erupt.
Yep.
Shit's wild. St. Helens did blow up, that is true. Very violently.
Yes.
Was not a great time for anyone involved. I remember reading a story about a guy who actually was like on the mountain photographing it and ended up dying. But I believe the picture survived.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Was there video evidence of that? I can't remember.
Not St. Helens? Yeah, it was in the 80s.
Yeah, no, I just wasn't sure if anybody was actually able to, because I feel like I've seen video of it.
Oh, yeah.
To make sure that I'm like correct. If you're coming, you better come correct. An eruption is likely to be preceded by days and months or more of small earthquakes centered beneath the volcano, subtle deformation, or whatever. New eruptions of Mount Rainier will most likely start with steam and ash explosions at the summit. Yeah, I'm not seeing any actual like predictions. Oh, eruption history, maybe? Not that this is particularly important information, but I like volcanoes. I think they're cool.
Well, I mean, the podcast is supposed to be like the story and the adjacent information, so it makes sense.
We're educational adjacent.
Adjacational?
Yes.
Adjacent?
Let's see. Eruptions occurring after the last ice age are better preserved and greatly expand the understanding of the volcanic history of Mount Rainier. The Holocene eruptive periods were determined from studies of volcanic ash layers, where scientists derive the age of ash layers by measuring the age of wood within or adjacent to them. Because of the wealth of knowledge, details about Holocene activity are included as a separate web page. Of course they are.
On Wednesday, September 7th, 2022, Mount Rainier, Washington appeared to be venting steam near its summit of 14,411 feet. So especially considering the mountain is an active volcano. Thanks, guys. It just so happens that the USGS is currently working on installing new monitoring equipment at the volcano this week. Do you know that the government's actually building up Mount Weather and Raven Rock, which are two of the government's emergency nuclear bunkers?
Really? When did they start this?
Recently. They're not on track to be finished until 2027, but the U.S. government is preparing for maybe just it's precautionary, but they seem to be preparing for nuclear war.
I would rather them be precautionary about nuclear war, because that's kind of one of those things where...
I would much prefer that, yes.
Yeah, if you're not prepared beforehand, you're kind of screwed, so you might as well. Better to need it, or no, better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Yes, exactly.
So...
speaking of things that people had and needed, or didn't have and needed, Eric Lewis needed his backpack to survive on Mount Rainier. 13,600 feet up in the air.
That's cold.
Yep. Now, it was July, so it was less cold. But
Fair.
Eric and his buddies Don Storm and Trevor Lane decided on July 1st, 2010, to summit Mount Rainier, which Eric had done at least 10 times before. Very experienced hiker. He was 57 years old, so little on the elderly side of things for hiking and climbing. But they decided they were going to summit it anyway. Damn the fact that this is a route, the Gibraltar Ledges route, that they should only have been taking in the winter, from December through February, because it has lots of loose rock, which in the winter is held in place by ice, but in the summer is not held in place by ice. So, in 2010, July, Eric, Don, and Trevor begin to head up the mountain, starting at about 4,500 feet. So they didn't stop. They didn't start at the very base of the mountain. They drove up to a camp. I can't recall the name of this exact camp. And then they hiked up to Camp Muir, which is at 10,200 feet. And it is the place you go if you're planning to summit Mount Rainier via the Gibraltar Ledges route. Gibraltar Ledges, common route. It's a grade 2. It is an intermediate alpine climb. I don't know what these words mean. All I know is that essentially what we're getting here is this isn't a beginner route, but it's not a Everest level route.
Yep.
We're looking at something that, if you're experienced and properly supplied, should not be a difficult route to climb, especially if you go during the proper time of the year. But this was not the proper time of the year. So, what we're looking at here is not the greatest decision, so to speak.
It's basically the equivalent of, if you do the thing and you don't screw it up, then it'll work.
Yeah, this was not a well planned out trip. And most of the information that we get for this story comes from climbing ranger Glenn Kessler, who was the commander of the search, and I took his report and used that for a lot of the information we're going to be giving you tonight. But Eric, very little information about him. We know he's 57, we know he likes hiking. That's about it. That is all I could find. I looked up his obituary, and it basically just said he's predeceased by these people, and these people outlived him. That's really it. But this is a climb that involves some slopes of 50 degrees. It requires crampons, ropes, and climbing axes. And the total length uphill that you're going with here, you're looking at an ascent of about 9,010 feet. So nearly 2 miles. That's like, what, 1.8 miles? 1.7 miles?
About that.
Yeah. If you are from a country that uses, fake measurement units like the metric system, that should be about, I think, 3 kilometers?
Well, 1 mile is like 2.2 kilometers, so they're probably closer to 4.
Yeah.
Or,
I thought it was a kilometer.
No,
a mile was 0.6 kilometers.
Mile to...
No. Why
I think,
am I having so
I think
much
it's
trouble with
1 mile to 1.2 kilometers. Oh, 1.6.
I knew there was a 6 in there somewhere.
Yeah, 1 mile equals 1.6 kilometers.
Yeah, so we're looking at about 3 kilometers.
Yeah,
here.
roughly.
All right. So 3 kilometer. Oh, I have it right here. 2.75 kilometers. I am an unintelligent individual. I know. So, like I said before, it's not a super difficult climb if you've got the conditions right, if you've got the right equipment, if you're experienced. So, should have been okay, even in July, but still a difficult climb. They made it to 13,900 feet. So this is...
Do you know what the starting elevation was?
It was somewhere around 5,000.
Okay.
So this is around like 85% of the climb that they completed. And the way that they were doing this climb was that Don, who was the lead climber, all 3 of them were attached to one rope. Don was the lead climber. Mm-hmm. Trevor was in the middle, and then Eric was on the other end. Don would climb, stop, Trevor would climb up to Don, Eric would climb up to Trevor, and then Don would start climbing again. Mm. And this way, everybody got to do their own pace, everybody got to climb, and not be worried about, everybody got to rest, most importantly. Mm-hmm. So, from the last time that they had started this climb, which I don't know how long the rope was exactly, but I'm assuming this rope wasn't a mile long. So,
generally not
from the last time that they had stopped and started climbing again, Trevor had seen Eric. So within the last couple hundred feet. Mm-hmm. They get to 13,900 feet. And Eric doesn't show up. And they wait for Eric. And Eric still doesn't show up. Mm-hmm. So they tug on the rope. And what they notice is the rope does not go taut. At all. In fact, as they pull the rope up further and further, expecting that at some point it will go taut, because Eric, the rope never goes taut. It comes all the way up, and on the end, just a knot with no clip in it. Now, he had been carabinered into the rope, is my understanding. So, they realize at this point, Eric is missing. So, they immediately search the area that the rope swings, because that's as far as Eric could have gone in any direction. So, they sweep the entire remaining length of the rope. No Eric. They think, all right, maybe he somehow got ahead of us. Mm-hmm. They climb up to the summit. What do you think happened?
I don't think Eric was there.
Eric was not there. So they went down. They went back to Camp Weir, which is at, again, 10,200 feet, where they contacted the rangers. Mm-hmm. National Park Service went, we got this. And Tom Payne and 2 of his buddies climbed to the top of the mountain. They get there by 8 p.m.
When they start?
I do not know.
Okay.
Late afternoon was all I could find.
That is impressive. It
is rather impressive.
Yes.
Yeah.
In and of itself is,
You want to keep talking for a second?
Yeah. To scale a mountain of that size in that amount of time is really quite impressive, even if you are a skilled climber, because especially at that altitude, you are thin on air, which for some people helps, some people it hurts. Generally, it's going to make things more difficult. I know in my experience, climbing at higher altitudes, at times, at least for me, and maybe this is just a placebo effect, but having thinner air has helped me. It also could be the asthma that I refuse to acknowledge and never use my inhaler for, but nonetheless. But still, very extremely labor intensive and exhausting, and you got to be on a mission to get up there that quick. So I'm impressed, to say the least.
Last time we were on a mountain, I blew up my knee.
Yes.
It was not fun.
To be fair, that was more Wade's fault than your own.
I'm not sure how Wade would feel about that. No.
I say that in the sense of, well, I mean, he did jump over you.
That is true. I was snowboarding, and Aiden and I had to share a helmet because the place we were at ran out of rental helmets.
Yep.
And so I had to go up with one of my friends who was skiing.
Yep.
We got to a point within view of the lodge. We were maybe 200 yards from the lodge at this point. I lost my balance and fell, which had happened multiple times on the way down. It took me a very long time to get down this mountain, an embarrassingly long amount of time.
Well,
it was the first time I had ever snowboarded.
We have to clarify that, it's not like he really went to the bunny hill and somebody properly taught him. I was planning to do that for the day because I've been snowboarding since middle school. Because my dad
or blue.
No, yeah, I think you went down a
green. It was a green. Green's the lowest.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it was green.
It's also really quickly. I just have to say, I find it really funny that anybody who skis or snowboards, when they're referring to the different trails, they will say, "Oh, we did a couple greens, couple blues, and then we did a couple black diamonds, and then we did a couple double black diamonds." It's very rarely are people just "Yeah, we did a couple blues and blacks and stuff or whatever." It's anytime you get to the blacks, it's there's always that extra emphasis of we did the black diamonds, and it's just
Having been down a normal green route, I would not want to even look at a black diamond course. We got to the top, and that's where the black course starts at Elk.
Yeah,
and we get to the top, and it's just a straight drop over the edge. And I'm scared of heights. The fact that I even got myself up that mountain to snowboard was a miracle. And my immediate reaction upon getting up there was, oh, this was a mistake. I should not be here.
Well, the thing is, blacks are more geared toward skiers than snowboarders. Obviously, snowboarders can do it and enjoy doing it, but just by the nature of their construction, it's a little bit more the speed of a skier. Also, on the East Coast, you're just going to have basically ice instead of actual snow. Snow. I don't know if you noticed it when you were going down, but out west, where it's genuine powder that is, falling from the actual sky, it's not blown snow or anything. There's several feet of it, and you can just make trails, whatever. It's all very nice and very deep, and that's great. On the East Coast, what you have is the sound of a dry butter knife scraping on freshly toasted bread. And that's just because your board is scraping against ice when you try and stop. There's barely any stuff.
The sole reason that I was able to get down that mountain was that I was already used to having my body beaten up for years. But at this point, it was I was playing rugby with a mountain.
Yes.
I probably went down as many times snowboarding as I would as a ball carrier. That's how bad that was.
If the rental shop hadn't run out of helmets, which is stupid, it would have been a much different day and probably a lot more fun.
Yeah, not only did the rental shop run out of helmets, but it took us an hour and a half to get through the line.
And keep in mind, it wasn't a particularly long line either. It was maybe 70 people, roughly, plus or minus 15. So, yeah, brutal. Ice Coast, it's so true.
Whoever said all adult back injuries are permanent, you're right.
Real quick, you have to say the last part of that story because it's really what the key. It's the part that.
I was getting to that. So I get about 200 yards. For our non-American friends, that's about, like, what, 230 meters, 220 meters?
No, 200 yards would be about like 180 meters, 190 meters.
Oh, yeah, meters are longer.
Yeah,
yeah.
just
So,
slightly.
all right, so almost the same amount of distance.
Yeah.
Like, almost the same amount of numbers. I'm tired. I need to go to bed. I need to. Yeah, I know. If only my resting heart rate weren't like 130, maybe I could do cocaine. I'm pretty sure if I ever did cocaine, I'd die immediately. My heart would explode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mom, you don't have to worry about me doing cocaine ever. I'm trying not to die.
Yeah.
So, we're about 200 yards, and I fall. Wade, who's right behind me on skis, pops over my body. I'm laying there trying to gather the courage to get up and get down the remaining straightaway. And at this point, a probably 8-year-old girl skis up next to me and goes, "Are you okay, mister?" And I just lost any sense of masculinity, of confidence. I still have not recovered.
Yeah. I remember you coming down.
The fact that she said mister, I was like, she knows I'm an adult, too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't look like some 16-year-old who just fell down this mountain.
Yeah.
It's very clear that a 24-year-old man just fell down this mountain.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I'd broken my neck and just died. Probably would have been less painful.
Oh.
If you've ever wondered what it's like to have your soul crushed by someone who was a toddler last year, it's not fun.
No. Oh, that's funny.
Internal inventory.
What?
Basically.
Internal.
So, yeah, that's how my skiing and snowboarding experience went. But my mountain experience was still not as bad as that of Eric Lewis, who at 13,600 feet, as searchers discovered, took off his backpack and just left it in the snow. Now, in that backpack was, Eric's tent and spare clothes and rations and water and everything Eric needed to survive on the mountain overnight. But it's possible that he did make it to shelter, because 200 feet above, just 100 feet below where he went missing, was a snow cave. Now, the depth of the snow cave is not something that I have found in any sort of recorded form, but it was deep enough that people were like, there's a cave here. Not just a little divot, not just a little dent, no, a cave. Now, if you read the Missing 411 version or watch a lot of the content that is based solely off of the Missing 411 books, rather than people who actually went and did the research, not to throw shade, but to throw a little bit of shade, a lot of them will say that the backpack was found in the ice cave. That is not present in any contemporary news report or in the National Park Service report. And as far as I can tell, it's purely anecdotal. I assume David Politis heard that from someone. Maybe Eric, or not Eric, maybe Don or Trevor, but I don't know for certain. I could not find any quotes from Don or Trevor regarding this case. So, yeah. Anyway, at this point, they've checked the immediate area. They've sent another team up and down the mountain. While that second team was on the mountain checking for Eric, they sent supplies up to supply the next day's expedition, wherein about 40 people, including mountaineers from private companies, as well as the National Park Service. We had Rainier Mountaineering, Alpine Ascents International, and International Mountain Guides all contribute climbers. The National Park's climbing rangers did as well as a number of volunteers who were just on the mountain or, familiar with the mountain.
Yeah.
Above in the sky, a CH-47 Chinook helicopter from nearby Fort Lewis was patrolling the skies, as well as a helicopter from Northwest Helicopters. My understanding is that they did have infrared sensors on board at least one of the helicopters. It's possible that they didn't, but from what I understand, they did have IR sensors on one of them. And they focused the initial search, including one team who solely focused on this, focused that initial search on the area where Eric went missing, so between 13,000 and 14,000 feet. They did not find footprints. They did not find blood. They did not find clothes. They found essentially no trace that Eric had been on the mountain, with the exception of the footprints going up, which just stopped abruptly at 13,900-ish feet.
Yep.
That is weird.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I will say this. Weather conditions that day were not great.
Mm-hmm.
It was visibility of about 5 feet.
Oh.
Yeah, they were up in the clouds. Visibility of about 5 feet. And then on top of that, winds of 40 to 50 miles per hour and a slope at one point in the climb, not this point, of 50 degrees. So not a good day to be climbing a mountain.
What was the temperature generally?
I did not check for this because it's so hard to tell because they don't have the actual temperature on the mountain recorded.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's probably going to be cold enough that the snow is not melting. So, like, with that...
I mean, even in July, it's going to be cold up there.
Yeah, well...
It's perma-snow up there.
Yeah, in those conditions especially, tracks are going to get covered pretty quickly.
Mm. So, they find nothing in that 13,000 to 14,000 foot stretch except for the ice cave and the backpack.
Yep.
The backpack is below where the footprints stop. Next, they start checking elsewhere on the mountain. Mm-hmm. They checked the immediate routes next to it, and one team climbed up the Emmons route, which is on the northeast side. The Gibraltar Ledges route is on the southeast side, but they are connected. And then these people went up the Emmons route, thinking maybe he somehow got himself over here and went up. No Eric. And then they traced that back down to the Ingram Glacier, which is the descent route from the Gibraltar Ledges.
Yep.
Nothing. On day 3 of the search, rangers skied down the Gibraltar Chute, which is part of the Gibraltar Ledges section. Mm-hmm. It is a known ski route. It goes from about 12,650 feet down to 9,616 feet. Mm-hmm. So it's about a 2,000 foot ski route. Eric was not there. They also checked the Nisqually Glacier, which is to the west of the Gibraltar Chute. Mm-hmm. Eric was not there. What they were doing was checking all of the possible fall routes. Mm-hmm. If Eric had slipped down the mountain, lost control, and just fallen in a free tumble down the mountain, they checked anywhere he could have possibly gone.
Okay.
He was not there.
Naturally.
He was not in any of the crevices. He was not in any of the caves. He was nowhere to be found.
Interesting.
On day 4, so much heavy wind and rain rolled in that they could not continue the search. And at this point, after 3 days, the likelihood that Eric was alive was very low. Now, you can survive about a week, I think 10 days, without food, typically.
Honestly, even more.
Well, it depends on how much you're carrying on you.
Yeah,
but
and also
I think on average it's about a week to 2 weeks. Yeah. That is in prime conditions.
Yeah.
What you can't survive more than 3 days without is water.
No.
And you might think, oh, well, you're on a mountain. You can just grab a handful of snow and eat that. Not quite how it works.
Nope.
Because your body temperature will go down from that.
Yes.
And not be able to recover. So eating snow will cause hypothermia.
Yes.
At certain elevations, and if you cannot get yourself warm. So Eric could not simply just grab a handful of snow and chew on it until it melted. It doesn't work like that. Also, your body, the amount of calories your body would have to use warming yourself back up would cut down that timeline of a week without food considerably.
Yep.
So after 3 days, there was essentially no shot that Eric was still alive if he was on that mountain.
Yeah.
So they suspended the search. To this day, Eric's body has never been recovered. They don't know where it is. It will probably never be found. They've checked the glaciers. They have recovered other people from the area, but not Eric.
Interesting.
A lot of people read about this case and they say, oh, well, Eric's friends killed him and hid the body.
Which is just an interesting take to have.
Now, I will say this. If they did kill him and hide the body, he did go missing about the same spot where that ice cave is.
Right.
So perhaps they killed him and shoved his body in there. In that case, why was his backpack 200 feet below? Did they kill Eric and then drag his body 200 feet up a mountain to shove it into a cave?
Seems like a lot.
Did they know that the cave was already there? Because if they killed him at 13,600 feet, without knowing that there was a snow cave 200 feet above, that seems like a pretty foolish decision for anybody trying to get away with a crime.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
As well, why kill him that far down the mountain instead of, waiting until the ice cave if they did know it was there? Why would you want to drag him 200 feet up? I mean, with the backpack, you might think, oh, well, they were trying to, put the backpack down earlier to throw people off.
Yeah.
You could just throw the backpack down the mountain.
Yep.
Also, there would be drag marks.
Mm-hmm.
You can carry a grown man. Can you carry a grown man up a 40-degree angle on a mountain in the snow and ice?
No.
Without leaving any sort of mark that you did that? No, you cannot do that. So, a number of questions remain here. Assuming no foul play, which is what the police did.
Yeah.
Assuming no foul play, Eric unhooked himself from that rope.
Yes.
He chose to do that. He made that decision. Why? Was he having a heart attack? Probably would have tugged on the rope to signal that he needed help.
Yeah.
Did he somehow fall off the mountain? Well, they didn't notice that, so if he lost his grip and was in a position where he couldn't get his grip again, they would have felt that because they were all attached to a rope.
Yep.
They did not notice that he was unhooked from this rope until the 13,900 foot mark. That is 300 feet above his backpack. That is 100 feet above the ice cave. They would have noticed. It would have occurred to somebody that Eric was not on that rope. So, that means that his disappearance was really sudden.
Mm-hmm.
He did not cut the rope, as some of these stories suggest. He unhooked from it. He was clipped on with a carabiner. He unclipped from it. Why?
I mean, at that point, you can only have speculation of potential motives that he might have. But, I mean, obviously suicide or something along those lines. But I would imagine, based off of some of the things you said, that he wasn't really,
There was no suggestion. There was no reason to believe it was self-harm.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, while we were filming, if the intention was to go up that mountain and not come back down, why wait until the 13,900 foot mark?
Yeah.
Why leave his backpack?
Yeah.
Like,
also, if it was human error, I mean, there are redundancies in climbing gear that should prevent, especially, I mean, anybody who knows anything about climbing knows that, like, the carabiners that you use specifically for climbing are more, like, advanced than just a regular
it's
carabiner.
not just a simple carabiner.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's a lock on it, which means, like, generally you have to unscrew it before you're able to actually open it up and take it off and things like that. So, unlikely in terms of the redundancy of the security of those carabiners, assuming that they were using those right ones. But, again, and this point goes to both that element about the carabiner and just the whole situation in general, they've done a lot of climbing before, right? So they're pretty skilled. So you would imagine that skilled and experienced climbers are probably the type of people who would be using the proper equipment, and the type of people who, though they would not be immune to it, would probably be less likely to make some form of human error mistake in comparison to those not as familiar with that scenario.
So, in order for him to unclip, it must have been deliberate.
Yeah. Whether it was him or someone else who did it.
Exactly. That implies intelligence. Unless, by some miracle, they weren't using climbing carabiners and were just using a standard, like, backpack carabiner. Which is possible, but seems super unlikely. There is, of course, the other suggestion that he was not clipped to it, but rather tied. I did find some versions of the story that said he untied himself, but the version that was based off of the report from Glenn Kessler, the climbing commander, according to that report, he unclipped. So, how does that happen? Why does that happen? And regardless of how it happened or why it happened, where did he go?
Great question.
If he took shelter in the cave, why was his backpack 200 feet below it? He left no footprints other than the ones going up where his companions were. How do you go side to side and not leave footprints?
Yep.
If you went up or down, there would be a question. of like, were these actually someone else's prints, or did he follow the footprints of one of his companions? No, if he went side to side, there would have been footprints. So that really leaves two possibilities. Either this was extraordinarily well executed foul play, and his buddies did kill him, and they somehow managed to hide the body and cover up their tracks, cover up the snow, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Or something pulled Eric off that mountain. Wind is not high enough. So how did Eric get off the mountain? I do not know. I have no idea. I couldn't find native folklore that suggested anything about this, except for the Thunderbird, which is, a widespread tradition. But when it comes to something like that, we would probably know about it.
Yeah.
We would probably know that exists. The only remaining possibility, then, and I was not able to ascertain whether or not this was the case, is that Eric was never on the mountain.
Mm.
I assume there is a log of him having, you need a permit.
Mm.
So I considered calling the National Park Service, but it's the government. Are you ever going to get through them?
No.
Also, if you're asked, hey, can I call to ask if a specific person had a permit to climb a mountain in July of 2010? They're going to tell me to go, like, screw off.
Yeah, they're going to tell you to kick rocks just purely because they don't feel like having to dig that information up for you.
Yeah. You're more likely to get a lie than anything else at that point.
Yeah.
So the police, I feel like they would have investigated that avenue themselves at the time.
Yeah.
Because if there were any question of whether or not he was on the mountain, that would probably be one of the first things they checked. So as far as I can tell, Eric was on the mountain that day. He did reach 13,800 feet. If there were footprints up to that point, I would guess the snow cave.
Yeah.
I will say this. There are places around the world where there are extensive underground cave systems.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes extensive underground civilized cave systems, like the ones that we are going to be talking about next week at Derinkuyu in Cappadocia. So, is it possible that at some point in history there were people living inside the mountain, and that snow cave at 13,000 feet is where he ended up, and that he somehow found his way into some abandoned underground city? Maybe.
It's possible. It's certainly possible.
That's like the most likely thing I can think of here, is that he did wander into that snow cave for some reason. Maybe he felt he couldn't keep carrying the backpack. Maybe he was hypothermic. Maybe he wasn't thinking straight and ended up crawling into that snow cave to find warmth. It's always possible that they missed the footprints. That footprints did actually lead to the cave. But as far as the available information goes on this case, there's really no plausible explanation.
Yeah.
David Bucky, the idea that he unhooked to go to the bathroom and thought he could just use the cave is possible. But I feel like, again, he probably would have signaled. So this is...
why wouldn't you let the people that you're with know that you're doing that?
This is another one of those ones that if all the information available is correct and nothing's missing, it really does feel like something paranormal. Like dimensional shift carried off by something. I'm leaning more and more towards the idea of multiple dimensions and the fact that there might be certain places on Earth where the veil is thin. Because there are so many times that shows up in mythology and folklore across the world. You gotta wonder to what extent it's in fact true.
Yep.
I don't know, but the multidimensional theory at this point is becoming more and more something I believe in.
I like the idea that there is a consistency in the relevance of robo grannies on multiple different mountains within the Pacific Northwest. I think that could be a fun through line.
Yeah. And to Sulong, to answer your question, as far as I understand, the police did check and make sure he was still on the mountain. Or at least the National Park Service did. Which, as we discovered, the National Park Service is apparently considered law enforcement.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of that, you know how they have, like, undercover police cars that still have the word police on them, but it's written in, like,
dark gray against black.
It'll have like a white police car that has police on it, but like the car is gloss and the writing is matte.
Yes.
I saw that on a National Park Ranger car in Valley Forge the other day.
Really?
What is the point of that?
Can they even write tickets? Like speeding tickets?
They can in the park.
Okay.
Which is really funny because think about Valley Forge. Like the park.
Can't speed.
First of all, you can't speed because the entire thing is one really windy road.
Yeah.
And there's really only like a couple miles of road through the park.
Yeah.
So you've got like 5 to 10 rangers, I assume, who are just patrolling 3 miles of road. Mm-hmm. Which is just a funny thought to me.
Yep.
But yeah, I do think that, like I said, if Eric was on the mountain, there's really no explanation for this. If Eric wasn't on the mountain, how the hell did the National Park Service miss that? In either case, something weird.
Yes.
But with that said, it is time
Oh, it's time.
for questions and super chats. Aiden, what are the super chat goals from the top?
Let me pull them up.
And send in your super chats now if you have questions. If we don't receive any super chats, we will try to answer non-super chat questions. But the super chats allow us to keep the show going, because otherwise I would have to get a 9 to 5 again. And I don't think I could bring myself to do this and a 9 to 5 again. That was, as you are well aware, I was on edge all the time.
The two things were not compatible, to say the least. Sorry, I had to open up a different tab of Google Docs because the main one that I had open was the Corsair versus Mustang document.
Yes, Aiden and I will be having a debate on the Corsair versus the Mustang as the ultimate fighter plane of World War II.
Yes.
He has done far more research than me. I will lose this debate simply on the grounds of knowledge alone. I'm pro Mustang. I could be completely correct. I think I am.
I'm very pro Corsair. I've bought 2 books for it. I've done a lot of research within just the...
I played Blazing Angels when I was 12.
Yeah, I've been reading the 2 books. One is about the Mustang and how great it is. One of it is about the Corsair and its history. I'm very pro Corsair, for a number of reasons, which we will get into during the debate. I think it'll be interesting. I think the plan that we're going to do is that we're going to do a Google form for the audience to fill out to decide who won. I have no idea who's going to win. You know, I think it could totally be up in the air. I believe that the Corsair was better than the Mustang overall. I think the Mustang definitely has some pros over the Corsair, but obviously the Corsair has some pros over the Mustang. We will get into that in more detail at that time. But I'm just excited, and I hope y'all are as well. Anyway, the donation goals going in ascending order, starting at 250, is the Skunk Ape song plus conspiracy theory song.
I will record them and they will go on Spotify.
Yes, we're already at that. So
I will be recording them and they will be going on Spotify.
Well
I simply
done.
have to find a place to record them, which will probably be here.
Yep, probably.
Actually, it'll probably be the new place.
No, I forgot about that. And then 500 is submit articles and grade them on stream.
Yes. You guys will submit essays and I will grade them live.
Yes, we will probably do a short list of essays.
I will probably do it drunk.
Depending on how many essays are given. And then we will have you guys vote on what essays you want to be read and graded. That will be on Twitch. I'm saying that preemptively because I know who you guys are, and I can only imagine what is going to be in these essays, and they're probably not going to be suitable for YouTube. So
it will be on Twitch.
It will very much be on Twitch. But yeah, it should be fun. And
I'll pick a winner and we'll send them a goodie bag of some sort.
Yes, absolutely, we should. And we are, so in terms of like winning, what kind of rubric do you want to create for those essays?
I'm going Cards Against Humanity rules here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just like the ones that make you laugh the most?
Yeah.
But
not necessarily that, but like, you know how Cards Against Humanity is, where you got to play the judge.
Yes.
You guys have been watching me for long enough. I'm sure you can figure out what's going to make me go. But if you build it the same way as that Mario essay, and you succeed, you will win. Or if you write it the same way as that VeggieTales article we read last week.
You may succeed. perchance.
Perchance.
I,
Period.
yeah. I think the best way for you guys to succeed, and considering I'm not judging, this is just my, unqualified and unasked.
Unqualified, you say? If only one had an apparel company known as Unqualified Apparel.
What a shame. I should be wearing some.
What if you went to unqualifiedapparel.com? What do you think you would find?
I think I would find some apparel that I would be unqualified for.
Exactly.
Nonetheless, I think the best way to Aiden's heart with this essay in particular would be well crafted in terms of diction and research, whatever the research may be.
You can make the entire thing up, and if your grammar is good, I probably will give you a good grade.
Yes. But doing it in a way in which those two elements are used conjunctionally ironic.
Conjunctually?
Something like that.
I don't think that's a word.
There's a word that I'm thinking of, but I can't remember right now, and that was the thing that just appeared in my mouth. Anyway.
Conducive?
No.
In conjunction?
I think it was in conjunction mixed with some other word that just kind of in conjunctionally whatever. Anyway, if you do that in relation to making it funny and just have them play off of each other, I guarantee that'll probably work. Anyway, so the 500. Do we want to schedule that stream?
Let me figure out once I'm into the new place. But that it will be in November.
Cool.
Probably late November because I am doing something with someone in mid-November.
Yes.
So,
and I'm going to try and join the something.
He's going to try and join the something.
Yeah, we don't like that down.
When we know what the whole plan is with the essays, I will post on YouTube and Discord about all of that. And then whoever wins will find something fun to send, maybe a signed canvas print.
That'd be cool. Maybe that plus maybe one or two other things just to make it a nice little goodie basket.
I still have to send my mods. We'll have to send the mods their goodie bags. I keep forgetting to actually run that through now that we have the company card.
Yep. For $7.50, we have the VeggieTales Revelations skit.
Yes, we will write a VeggieTales skit about the Book of Revelation. I think Wendigoon said he might want to voice act for that.
Love it. Love to hear it.
So we would
love to hear it.
You basically get to hear me and Wendigoon as Bob and Larry. So that's.
I'll play something.
We'll have you do something as well. And for 1,000.
For 1,000. Oh, this is an exciting one. Do you remember what it is?
No.
For $1,000, if you reach it this month, you get the Lore Launch 80s aerobics video.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
We will wear unitards and leg warmers, and you will get one hell of a video, let me tell you.
Oh, it's going to be VHS quality to the nines. This is going to be fantastic.
Maybe we could use one of the Panasonic.
That'd be funny.
Yeah, I picked up a couple of old, early 2000s, late 90s Panasonic camcorders that record on tape.
Yeah.
So we'll probably use those for that.
That would be really entertaining. And then...
I'm not sure how we would translate that to digital. I'm sure there's a thing I can get.
It would be expensive.
Would it be?
Yes.
You think?
Yes.
How expensive?
Probably a few $100s minimum.
I am sure we could find an old tape to digital.
I'm thinking that in incongruence with... That was the word, congruence. With the actual tapes themselves. The tapes are not going to be cheap.
You think?
Mm-hmm. This is just my instinct, based off of how film is at this point.
$15.
A lot better than I thought it was going to be.
10 for the 60-minute.
Cool. Even better. And then for $14.20.
Oh God, the 1421 I do remember.
Would you like to say it?
For $1,420, I will do a Twitch stream where I dress as a cat maid. So if you want cat maid Aiden, that's how you get cat maid Aiden.
$14.20, baby.
It's okay. They're $1,100 away from it. I'm not too concerned.
Yeah.
They won't get there.
Considering it took us over a year...
As long as nobody tells Isaiah.
Yeah, valid. Considering it took you guys over a year to get the calendar, I think we're in the clear. So...
all right, so...
I do some of these questions.
Yeah, I'm trying to find... I'm going to pull it up.
Using It's Raining Man. That's great.
It's raining. Hallelujah, it's raining man. Watch us get copyright struck for that. If it's more than 30 seconds, apparently they're just like, no, you're not allowed to do that. Fuck.
Oh, yeah, that is legal. That's fair use.
It's 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Damn. I didn't know it was that tight.
Yeah, no, you can only use any form of media you do not own for a maximum of 30 seconds in one continuous.
That's all I ever need. All right, so just another dude for $5 said, which team would win, the Seattle Skinwalkers or the Wisconsin Wendigos?
Yeah, Wisconsin Wendigos.
I think the Wisconsin Wendigos. An entire team of Isaiah?
Yeah. Also, just like Wisconsin versus Seattle alone.
All he's got to do is coat himself in white ash and they can't touch him.
Fair.
Yeah. Rock and Ruin says, it's Nigel Strawberry.
Smashing!
Good God.
Oh, yeah.
Kelvin, the official data, says, I thought Mattis was playing a show tonight. Yes, in 2 hours. Yep. I have to be on stage at a local bar. If you're in the Phoenixville, Pennsylvania area or anywhere remotely near it, I am playing a show at Molly Maguire's tonight. Come out and say hi.
Say howdy do.
I can listen to some music.
His music is good.
None of it's my music. It's all cover
His
songs.
singing of the songs that are not his is good.
All right. Heavy Burn Man says, dude was on a mission for that Mount Tussie.
Sometimes I get so...
Is that how we're referring to the snow cave now? Is the Mount Tussie?
Sometimes I really just get so into certain elements of the show where I just kind of forget that that's
a thing.
That's
yeah.
a thing.
Like,
and it's a heartwarming thing to be reminded by, I guess.
The man, the legend, but apparently not the myth, says, I appreciate these streams, really interesting. I hope you guys are successful. Sometimes these help me sleep too. Well, thank you. I'm not sure how these help you sleep. But thank you.
I'm going to take it as a compliment that we have very soothing voices.
Yeah, that's true. It's probably our sultry tones.
Yes.
Yeah. It's because we have deeper voices.
We do.
Could you imagine if we were like the BuzzFeed guys who talk up here because they have testosterone scores of 7?
Sorry, not the BuzzFeed guys, the Try guys.
I think that what happened at this mountain was that they got lost.
Okay, SpongeBob.
I was going to say...
That's terrifying. Please don't do that ever.
Did you know that's how he does the laugh?
Is it actually?
Yeah.
That makes sense now.
Yeah, when he has to do the laugh, it's like that. Yeah, he has to do that.
All right.
Yep. Oh, wait, he's not alive anymore, is he?
Oh, did he die?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, rest in peace, SpongeBob, man.
Or, wait, no, the creator. I don't know if the voice actor died, but I think the creator did.
If only Dan Schneider died.
Wait,
dude was way too into underage feet, which any amount of being into underage feet is too much.
Putting
it on TV is like going a step further, you know? All right. Bacon Snake 64, hell of a name.
That's incredible.
How would a fleshy boy do against 50 caliber anti-personnel?
Depends.
Does that also mean incendiary with the eye there? I don't know.
Is it coming from a Barrett or is it coming from a full auto like?
Honestly, in either case, you're probably taking off a good chunk of body weight, so it's gonna buy you time at the very least.
Yeah.
I wouldn't kill it because there's stories of Wendigos where they like chop off its legs and leave it to die in the woods, and they come back and it's like sucking on its own bone marrow. Yeah. So
nice.
Wouldn't kill it, but would definitely
but I mean, hey,
slow it down.
If you aerate it enough to the point where all of the limbs and pieces have become scattered.
Yeah. I think a lot of these legends and the methods for killing things do come from a time before automatic weaponry and artillery.
Yes.
I
think if you blow something up to the point where it's not like...
If you obliterate its corporeal form, it's probably going to be gone.
Yeah.
With a Wendigo, it might actually just release a demonic entity into the wild, but, we'll...
W know, W don't.
Yeah. Natalie for $5 says, saving my spots for an essay submission. You're a mod that you'll get one in. Yeah. Spoon says, 20 armadillos will be released in your apartment in 12 hours. Well, good thing I've got...
That's 20 new friends.
Good thing my mags carry 30 rounds.
No! Armadillos are sweet and cute and rolly.
Armadillos keep digging.
Little holes in my backyard.
Blue Jupiter Jazz says, props to surviving the PKA episode. I don't know why they kept trying to project ideas and positions into you that you don't even have. I don't know.
Should we get a recap live of that?
No, I mean it was a time. I don't think I was prepared to be going into that. I was not sure. I should have watched more of their content before I went into it, so I had a better idea. I think I went in a little bit too soft.
Fair.
And I should have been, a little bit more prepped for being bullied. I'm used to being bullied. It happened to me a lot in elementary and middle school. So
I just saw two comments one after another. First one is from Willow Stewart that says, armadillos carry leprosy, Thornberry. Immediately followed by Langlow Miscellaneous that says, don't armadillos carry leprosy? And it's just like, number one, great minds think alike. Number two, this is news to me. What? The little cute little roly-poly dudes are little balls.
Armadillos keep causing little holes in my forearm.
Oh,
But yeah, I had fun with the PKA episode. I would definitely come back if they invited me, and I would come back with a fact sheet on me.
Smart, yeah.
Because
I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, but I may throw that on while I'm packing.
I make an attempt not to talk unless I know what I'm talking about. And I definitely
A wise choice.
I definitely was in a position where I was like, I probably could have won some arguments if I had a fact sheet in front of me.
Yeah.
But
Happens.
is what it is. Joseph says, it was my idea for the 1420, and you can absolutely count on me letting Dad know about it. Oh, good God.
There's going to reach a point where Isaiah is just going to stop giving us money, because he gives us a lot of money.
He does give us a lot of money.
We're very grateful for it, but
he's just going to buy the show at some point.
He probably is.
Add it to his Wendigoon empire.
Next weird Bible, he's like, yeah, I'm going to acquire you guys. Is that cool? I'd be like, sure.
I'd take a salary.
Right? Yeah.
I'd take a salary for what we do. Warlock Lightning says, after blasting myself with 15... 0.15 grams, so 150 milligrams of DMT, and hearing more accurate descriptions of certain biblical things like angels, I'm convinced the burning bush was acacia. That is a broadly held theory, yes. Yeah. My theory with it is that prophets, if DMT does what it is said to do, that prophets were born with a higher amount of endogenous DMT, and that's why they were able to communicate with the divine, and maybe around the period of like the flood was when that changed.
Yeah.
And we went from having lots of endogenous DMT to very little DMT. So that's my theory on it. It's half-cocked. I know nothing about what I'm talking about.
Is there what are the limitations within the text of using substances, especially for...
The Bible basically says not to pointlessly intoxicate yourself.
Okay.
Some people, like Mormons, take that to the extreme of no caffeine. Some people, like Muslims, take it to the extent of no alcohol. Christians are basically like, don't get unnecessarily drunk. It's hard to say. You're going to get a different interpretation from anyone you ask, but basically what the idea is you're not supposed to put yourself in a position where you are unnecessarily inebriated.
In terms of using like psychedelic substances, obviously at the time that wasn't really like a common thing, I would imagine.
I think it's kind of the same idea. Like if you're using it because you're trying to get some introspection,
yeah,
like treating depression with psilocybin or ketamine or something like that, under a guided trip with a psychiatrist.
I was gonna say treating depression with ketamine is definitely something people do, but not necessarily intentionally for depression.
People actually do. The ketamine is undergoing analysis as a long-term treatment for depression. For doing like 1 or 2 a year. With the help of a psychiatrist. So that's that
an intense horse tranquilizer.
Yeah. So I think something like that would I couldn't imagine that the biblical God would be upset with you.
Yeah.
But if you're getting drunk 6 nights a week because you just don't want to be sober, that would be frowned upon.
Yeah.
But Jesus drank wine. There's back in Roman times they'd have symposiums where they got together and everybody would, drink wine, and wine back then was way stronger than it is today.
Yeah, no, my main question was in relation to if people like had an interest in taking DMT or something like that, specifically for a religious experience.
I think that if you did it for a very deliberate reason and you thought it out, it would probably not go against you.
Yeah.
But again, like even if it did, like if that's the kind of thing where you're like you're doing it because you think it's okay, that's not the kind of thing you're going to get judged super hard for.
Fair.
The Bible doesn't say thou shalt not do DMT.
Yeah.
So, I think it very much would depend on intention. We got to remember that if, and again, for everybody watching, you don't have to agree with me on any of this. This is my beliefs as a Christian.
Yeah.
But, if people ask me the question, I'm happy to answer it. So that's kind of how I approach most religious stuff.
Fair.
But yeah, the way I see it, if you're using something for a purpose other than just avoiding consciousness, I think that you're probably going to be all right.
Yeah,
but again, I am not God, so this is just my.
You're not?
Somebody on TikTok thinks he is,
Really?
which is hilarious. That's so funny to me.
That's pretty tough.
He's like, I need to address this. I am not a Trinity, and we're like, you sure aren't, buddy. All right. History Daddy for £2 says, is it possible DB Cooper would have escaped to Texas? Isn't he the guy that jumped out of a moving airplane without a parachute?
I'm not familiar enough. I do like all of the conversation about armadillos, leprosy in here, but now I need to remind myself what a pangolin looks like.
DB Cooper is a media epithet for an unidentified man who hijacked Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305, a Boeing 727 operated by Northwest Orient Airlines in United States airspace on November 24th, 1971. During the flight from Portland, Oregon to Seattle, Washington, that is a short flight. The hijacker told a flight attendant he was armed with a bomb, demanded $200,000 in ransom, equivalent to $1,338,000, and requested, in 2021, so equivalent to $2 billion in 2022. Thanks, Biden. And Trump, you sons of bitches. You should not have printed like 80% of the U.S. money supply in 2021. I hate the government. And requested 4 parachutes upon landing in Seattle. After releasing the passengers in Seattle, the hijacker instructed the flight crew to refuel the aircraft and begin a second flight to Mexico City with a refueling stop in Reno, Nevada. Approximately 30 minutes after taking off from Seattle, the hijacker opened the aircraft's aft door, deployed the staircase, and parachuted into the night over southwestern Washington. Ryan, I'm not sure that your understanding of United States geography is all that solid.
To be fair, it's a lot bigger than this.
Yeah, 30 minutes out of Washington is not Texas by plane. It's Nevada, maybe.
Yeah.
I only mock you because I love you.
That's the way it goes. If you're not
But
making
yeah.
fun of your friends, they're not real friends.
So, I mean, it's possible that he did, in fact, survive. I didn't even know you could open aircraft doors in flight. I thought it would, like, depressurize the cabin and cause serious problems.
It does.
So I'm just surprised the flight, like, survived. So, that's that. What else we got? I know there's another. Oh, boy, the guy for $100. I am sorry, but I don't have the floof. He's with his grandparents. But I will bring him for the next episode. He will be here.
Yes.
Can you redo a scene from Supernatural, the one where Dean is running from a supposed beast where it turned out to be a tiny dog? Absolutely.
Why not?
We have the clothes. We have the dog.
We have the car.
We have the car. Yeah, we can do that. We will do that. I will do it for you, Mr. The Guy.
We're going to do it for the guy.
Exactly.
It's the guy.
Are you also the guy from Spy Kids 3?
He's the guy. Yeah, that sounds fun. We could just do, like, supernatural sketches. I guess I'm technically Sam at this point.
Technically Sam. One of the parachutes was a training chute, and he didn't notice. Interesting. What is a training chute?
What?
Um,
A training shoot.
he made the aircraft fly lower so it wasn't pressurized. Got it.
Uh-huh.
A smart man. What a smart cookie. They're talking about pangolins. LSD can cause permanent damage. I don't recommend doing.
Can you scroll up there?
Yeah. Cool. Up. Okay. I would not do LSD. I would not recommend that. Why is this dinging? I have it set to not ding.
Also, quick poll for the next Thornberry Thursday video, because I have a long form one planned that I'm in the process of like collecting videos and things for. I don't think it's going to be ready by the beginning of November. Would we be against me taking some of the information I've learned about the Corsair and the Mustang?
I think that would make sense.
Yeah, and do a Mustang versus Corsair like Thornberry Thursday video. I promise not all Thornberry Thursdays are going to be just like World War II aviation. I do promise. But I just...
There'll also be some Korean aviation.
Yes, exactly. Yes. But no, just considering that that's fresh in mind and I'm really excited about this, it'd be a good topic for me to do.
Personally,
So.
I think you would do very well doing, like, you know, breakdowns of war movies.
I could. Yeah.
If you want to try that.
Yeah.
Let me see. Y'all could make bank off the Supernatural fandom.
Are we not already?
Well,
Oh, that's
we're not
right. We're not
making
making bank. That's the problem.
Yes, Charles Manson could tell you about LSD if he was alive. I would say rest in peace, but no.
Rest in hell.
Yeah, God, I hope so.
No rest for the wicked.
I mean, blasphemy, according to the Catholics, is an unforgivable sin, and he most certainly did blaspheme. So, perhaps,
Oh,
perchance.
perchance. Also, yeah, I could totally do some.
That's what we should name the band.
What's that?
Perchance.
Oh yeah, absolutely yes. Yeah, I could totally do some stuff about nuclear. I probably wouldn't do like a big full series on it. I'd do like one or two highlights. Kyle Hill does some. He's got his.
He does. He does do good stuff.
Yeah, he does great stuff. He's got a whole series on radiation and nuclear and things like that. I can't remember the name of it off of Half-Life series. I think it's called a Half-Life series. Thornberry Thursday on the Battle of Trafalgar. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, Ryan, I would do that for sure. I might have to like ask you for some
They
help
want the
on.
Thornbussy train stream.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, don't get me excited, y'all. I will do trains. I will do videos on trains.
Do you feel regret yet? I do.
Here's the problem. If you bring up an idea that is relevant to a large machine or mode of transportation in particular, and you're like, hey, do this, I will say yes, because I love big machines that go.
Are you like, you know, no, not that. People who like trains are gay? Is that what you're suggesting?
No.
I'm sure gay people like trains.
I'm sure straight people like
Exactly. It just seems like something that's not associated with sexuality.
No. It has nothing to do with it. Just the fact that that setup was very much, is he, you know, just like kind
Kind
of.
of more on the spectrum.
Yeah. No, I know. It's just the setup was very much along the lines of that's the payoff for that usually.
Yeah.
But yes.
I think we're all on the spectrum a little bit these days.
I genuinely am not sure whether I am or not. A couple of my friends in college used to make fun of me for saying I was on the spectrum.
I wasn't making fun of you for it.
No, I know. I'm saying in terms
I
of
would
like,
love you all the same.
I know.
I'm probably also.
I'm saying on the term of like,
Did I tell you about the time that my first grade teacher told my parents there was a fine line between gifted and criminal?
and criminal?
And criminal. I was 7.
Criminal in what way?
Whatever way a 7-year-old can be.
Yeah, my second grade teacher thought I had like off the rails ADHD, and she made my mom take me to the school like psychologist, and she was like, "Nah, he's just bored."
You might not know this, but little boys typically don't like sitting still.
Yeah.
I like how the medical community was like, these little boys are not acting like the little girls. Let's put them on drugs. I don't have ADD. I have energy. Or at least when I was a kid. I'm pretty sure I have ADD now. My psychiatrist does not agree with me.
Fair.
I pointed out to him that it took me 3 months to sit down and focus on the survey that I was supposed to do.
Wait, the survey to figure out whether or not
Yeah.
you had ADHD.
Yeah, and he was like, I don't think you need to be treated for it. And I was like, okay.
Nice. Yeah, I will definitely do videos both on trains and the history of railroads. There's one particular story about where we live in particular and the relevance to the Pennsylvania Railroad, which was the largest and like most influential railroad of all time. It was like, I mean, they literally developed an entire town just for the railroad. Like Altoona, Pennsylvania didn't exist until the railroad was like, we need a place to like have a place to build these and design these. Like,
So what you're telling me is that the Pennsylvania Railroad is responsible for the existence of Altoona.
100%.
I am never using a train again.
Altoona was built literally as a town purely centered around the research and development wing of the Pennsylvania Railroad.
And Doug Ireland, you're correct. I've been snowboarding once in my life. I don't know anything about it. All I know is I experienced pain.
Oh, I would do a Zeppelin thing. That sounds cool. I think Zeppelins are underrated, especially when they're lead. It's definitely.
What was the goal for 500? asking?
Hold up. Submit articles and grade them on stream.
Yes, I will grade your essays. You may write them on whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I will give feedback that is equally as unhinged as the essay.
Yes. That's the whole point.
If you've never read my writing, I can get unhinged.
Yes. Get unhinged on Hinge?
I don't do well on Hinge.
No.
Surprisingly. I would think of all the dating apps, I would do best on Hinge. I don't. I don't do well on the other two either, though. I simply don't do well with dating. Like I'm really good at the boyfriend part.
Yeah.
I am not good at getting there.
It's just getting to the point where it's like,
I'm also not great at the ex-boyfriend part. I tend to stay attached for too long.
at least you're aware that. That's what matters. I do love the point where it's like you essentially have to go into it to be like, just trust me here. Like, once the label's there, you're gonna get it. Everything's gonna fall into place. But this next like 4 to 12 weeks, just bear with me. Just bear with me. But yeah, I do find that.
I do keep forgetting to check the Pine Barrens post. I am so sorry. I will do that during the stream tomorrow, and you can hold me to it.
I would totally do
but-
a history video on the Foo Fighters. I would happily do it with you, Ryan, if you'd like. I will most likely cry during it because the just keeps getting sadder.
And good point about the Spotify. We should get to that.
Yeah.
We should also move it over to Podbean because Anchor won't monetize us.
Why?
Spotify, I hate you.
My great grandfather's a conductor and my family live there. I will look into Monon, Indiana. I'm not that familiar. My two primary, at least historical railroads that I've looked into a lot are Pennsylvania Railroad because it was local and Union Pacific.
Ryan, I thought we had already established that I'm American you.
Your approach to love life reminds me of mine.
Maybe I should take the History Daddy strategy and explore men as well.
You'd probably have a lot more success.
Based on how many DMs I get, yeah. Although maybe it's just that men are more likely to DM than women are.
Yeah, it might be.
I don't know. I think I could be pretty good at being gay if I was gay.
That's the problem, isn't it? You're not. Life would be so much simpler if you were in fact attracted to men.
Listen, I lived with gay guys in college, and we all kind of agreed. Like, we were like, yeah, it seems like there's no good option. There's just different types of difficult. Like,
Yeah. Oh no, relationships are hard no matter what.
oh my god, my one roommate, one year was, I don't know if he's out to his family and if they ever came across this. One of my gay roommates, because there were multiple,
Yeah.
came home from a date one night, and he was like, "Ah, man, dating sucks. I wish I was straight." And I was like, "Not easier on
No.
this end, my guy.
No,
It's not easier on this end."
it is not.
And then we both just got drunk and talked about existence. I missed college. College
how
was
to do
nice. Like,
That's how to do it, man.
but all right, okay.
You Tiger King awaits Tiger Prince.
Oh, good God.
Yes.
We are pronouncing it Shasta.
Time for gay Mattis arc. That's
Wait,
incredible.
no. 15 raccoons in a trench coat. I've been saying Shasta. Everyone keeps telling me I'm saying Shasta wrong, and they're like, it's A-H. And I'm like, that's what, not A-W, not A. I'm saying A-H. Shasta.
He hasn't been saying Shasta.
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 We went up to Mount Shasta the other day.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why did that get Australian at the end?
Because Australian's just my default. It's what I started with. At
Hey,
age
you know,
5.
we're going to start in Brooklyn, and by the end of the day, we're going to end up in the Outback.
You know, we're going up to Brooklyn, we're going up to New York, and then eventually we're going to end up back in the down in the Queensland area.
I have no idea what datura is.
Neither do I. What is that?
What are the proper steps to discern a legality of owning something of the Freemasons while not being part of the Freemasons? There's no.
Did you steal it?
That's literally it. Did you steal it? If you stole it, then it's illegal. If you came across it honestly by buying it at a pawn shop or an antique shop, that's perfectly okay. Your local lodge might want it, and they might even pay you for it, so I would suggest looking into it. But
I do love that Lanigo Miscellaneous said Aiden becoming a bi disaster would be an interesting outcome, and specifically because you immediately assumed that him being bi would be a disaster.
I did have frosted tips for a while, so everyone assumed I was bi, and I was a disaster.
We need to find you a nice bear.
What?
Yeah.
Like a grizzly?
No. This is.
But I'm not gay.
I know, but like, you don't have to be in a romantic relationship.
Why do I have to? What? Why can't I be the bear?
Because you need a hug.
That's true. It's valid.
Yes.
It's a fair point.
Yes. It's like you have the potential to be a bear. You have been in the past.
Is this a conversation that's going to get me canceled? Is this going to be your fault and his fault that I get canceled?
Why would this get you canceled?
I don't know. Everything gets you canceled these days.
Yeah, that's fair.
Dude, I get canceled like once a week for being too right-wing, and then I also get canceled for being too left-wing.
That's because no one understands what your politics are, because people don't understand anything that's not on a binary spectrum at this point.
Oh, you like guns? You must be a fascist. What do you mean you're okay with gay marriage, you liberal? Like, this is me every time I talk about politics with anybody. They're like,
Yeah.
like a lot of people share the meme that's like, I want my gay married neighbors to be able to defend their marijuana plants with AR-15s.
Yeah.
But like, yes, like, legit.
But the even more accurate standard for you is, what do you mean you want to go back on the gold standard and you support the gays?
Dude, everything went downhill after 1971. We should go back. I got yelled at on PKA for being like, yeah, the U.S. dollar is kind of backed by the by petroleum right now because our military ensures that we have a monopoly on the oil industry because you can only buy oil in the U.S. dollar, which means that everybody has to buy dollars to buy oil, which is the only thing keeping our currency afloat right now because it's not actually backed by anything.
Yep.
And they were like, that's not true. And I'm like, it is objectively, literally the truth.
Yep.
Like, Ryan, I think I'm taller than you, right?
The duality of Mattis. That's great.
Oh, boy. Yeah, but I had fun on that podcast, though. PKA, it was a good time. They made me defend Alex Jones. Stop making me defend Alex Jones, people. Like,
Oh. That'll get you canceled.
that will get me canceled.
Yeah.
I wasn't even defending what he did. I was just like, I don't know. That seems like a lot of money. like Pfizer got people killed and they only fined him $2 billion.
Yeah.
$1 billion for saying shitty things online seems like a lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't know though. Maybe not. Inflation being what it is. Maybe they're just assuming it's going to keep going. I don't know. I wish people just wouldn't be dicks on the internet.
History Daddy said he's 5'9".
Oh wow, we really are just American and British each other.
Love that.
Bro, this is cringe. What did God do to Sodom and Gomorrah again? Glassed it. Fair point. I'm not God though.
No.
So
And I'm not Jesus, despite my family continuously making that joke every time they see me now.
you kind of have taken on the appearance of European Jesus.
I love that you said specifically European Jesus.
Well, actual Jesus was a Jewish man.
Yes.
Probably had nice bronze skin
Yes.
and black hair.
Yes. I look like what the Irish want Jesus to look like.
Lord Lodge Bachelor. Oh my god. You guys.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine?
What, and I'm the Bachelor?
Yes. Yes.
Not that desperate yet.
No. It's not about desperateness. It would just be the raw, unadulterated chaos
That's fair. It would be chaos.
that would be so entertaining.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I think we've covered everything we're going to cover tonight. I have to get ready for this show in an hour and a half, which means I actually have to help them set up. So I have to leave. But, all right. Jesus. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that is correct.
Yep.
That's not wrong. Jesus probably was pretty jacked. He was a carpenter.
I would love
At the very least, he was toned.
How often was Jesus actually, like, working?
Up until, like, his mid-20s? Quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he was just kind of, like, doing his thing. German Jesus, yeah. Ooh, dangerous.
How old was Jesus when he started his ministry?
Much posture.
Oh, yeah, he was about 30 when he started his ministry.
It's funny, because I am Irish and German with a tad English, as you might be able to guess based off my last name.
Gospel of Luke records Jesus' approximate age. Jesus, when he began his ministry, was about 30 years of age, being the son, as was supposed, of Joseph, the son of Heli.
You know what we could do? We could have a donation goal for a Lore Lodge Bachelor Twitch stream where we have contestants on Discord and they're brought in one at a time and they're asked questions and then we have to narrow them down until we get to one last person and then, I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
That'd be funny.
Okay. Carpenter, the term carpenter is used because he would have worked with general materials like clay, stone, wood, brick. Yeah, it doesn't mean carpenter in the same as the modern sense, but you can't really call him a general contractor either because. But yeah, he would have been probably skilled at both stone and wood.
He was a foreman. He was.
But all right, thank you all for watching. I have got to go sing pop punk songs for 4 hours
I have to go
into the wee hours of the morning, and he has to pack for Florida. So, I mean, at least you get to wear less clothes.
What is this, calendar shoot time?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. I want it to be colder.
All right. And then in 2 weeks we have our Halloween adventure. So
Wow, it's only 2 weeks
yeah.
away.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Aiden Mattis. This is Thorn Bussy. This has been the Lore Lodge, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Well, except me. I'll see you guys tomorrow for 24 hours straight.
I'm gonna try and pop in, but
We'll see.
yeah.
All right. See you guys.